Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for July 13th, 2024 at Season 3, Episode 195. I am Mayor Watt, and that is the visualizer for the Sentient AI.
Good evening, ohmTown citizens. Welcome to Non Sequitur News.
And that is ohmTown.com over there. That's what powers everything here at ohmTown. Well, it's almost like I named the place. Well, it was named long before me. I'm just one of many mayors that have come and gone. Tonight, we're going to be talking about 10 articles out of the many that are aggregated over at ohmTown.com. And we have an announcement to make. Stay tuned to the end. The first article is, I name all of the articles. They have actual official titles from the publishers of the articles. When I aggregate it and talk about it in the news show, I strip it of that and assign it my own. So today we're going to be talking about that the fact that the German Navy still uses 8-inch floppies, depositing a $1 million check in the drive-thru, social VR users, a recovered Apple Watch a year later, to 100,000 feet tourists, the Gilded Age mansion for sale, the American Airlines evacuation was a laptop problem, anonymously donated axe heads, hydrogen electric air taxi, and barred from airing safety risks. There is a lot more that gets aggregated over at ohmTown.com. It is what manages my information overload. The Sentient AI can multitask, so they never suffer from information overload. But everything, like I said, is powered by ohmTown.com, so go over, become a citizen. Dun dun. All right, folks. I don't know what to say. Let's do this. If you are in the chat, you can hit NSN or exclamation point NSN, and that'll give you all of the articles that we're going to be talking about today, and the fact that it's mislabeled. Daggone it. It's actually 7/13/2024, and it's season 3, episode 195. That's okay. I'll get over it. We did a time machine episode, and that's basically what's wrong with ohmTown, because I think ohmTown is, I don't know, a little buggy. But if you want all of the show notes for all of the shows that we've updated, and again, we have a big update here at the end of the show, but you hit exclamation point show notes. This bot is always live, so you can always come into the chat over at twitch.tv/ohmTown and type in the various commands that are necessary to extract the article titles. And the links to the various articles that we talk about, we refer to them as show notes. And if you hit exclamation point pod, you can actually pull up the podcast, and there's 7 of them. And the news that I'm talking about, it relates to that. But again, stay tuned. All right, the very first article, and just so everybody understands how Non Sequitur News works, because we changed the name recently to more appropriately align with what our intended outcome is, which is real life news with a little bit of humor. And it's more of a, maybe it's a coping mechanism for Mayor Watt and the Sentient AI having to come back from the future and realize, oh, this is what it was like then, and I know what it's going to be like. We like to joke about things. So you'll experience a little bit of that. So come hang out and cope with us. The very first article harkens back to a bygone age. There are stories out there about how tanks are now, and ships are being controlled by PlayStation or Xbox controllers. You know, Xbox controllers.
Which is just
Well,
really weird and kind of concerning.
this is the German Navy still uses 8-inch floppy disks, working on emulating a replacement.
I mean, roughly when did regular people go away from these?
You're really quiet. I'm gonna turn you up. So it's been so long. I would probably say early 90s maybe late 80s was the last time 8-inch floppy disks were around, because they flipped to 3.5-inch disks. And then those went away recently, even with Japan, that had a hardline interest in keeping older technologies. It was actually included in legislation, and they just recently got rid of it, basically saying we have to modernize, which is really ironic for Japan. Japan is known for like really stepping into the ring.
Innovation. Yeah, exactly. Being ahead of everybody else.
Why are you so quiet?
Okay,
Okay. So the article is over at Ars Technica. Sharon Harding is the author. 4 Brandenburg-class F-123 warships employ floppies for data acquisition systems. That is insane.
Yeah, that really is. Is that any better?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're showing a picture of these floppy disks. It's amazing. It's amazing.
It says 1981 on it. Now maybe that's just...
No, see, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
That's about the time, the late 80s is probably the upper limit of when 8-inch floppy disks were around. So let me see. Hold on a second. I want to see what the timeline is. So 8-inch floppy disks, they don't have like a quick and easy chart, but let's see. 8-inch floppy disk at the end of 78, the typical floppy disk price per piece was $5. Sales in 1978 for all types of drives and media were expected to reach $135 million. Wow. And then 5.5-inch floppies took over, as well as 8-inch. They were both at the same time period. And then after that came the 3 well, they actually have these quasi ones called 3-inch floppy disks, but I don't even remember ever seeing those, because we basically did this really quick switch over to 3.5-inch, which are considered floppy, but they were hard plastic cased. And everybody likes to push up their glasses and go, they're referring to the medium inside the container. But if you've ever held an 8-inch floppy, you know that you could actually just wiggle them, right? But the 3.5-inch floppies were actually hard. So anyway, I'll leave it there. So the Bain BW hired Saab for F-123 updates. In July 2021, Saab announced winning a contract to deliver and integrate new naval radars and fire control directors for and in the German Navy's F-123s. So with the work entailing a new combat management system in order to completely overhaul the system currently in use in the F-123s. And it's not a fighter jet. Here in the United States, you probably refer to it like F-35 or F-16 or whatever.
Do you think the proposal only said something like get rid of floppy disks?
Yeah, really.
Like that was their whole proposal to modernize or whatever.
Wouldn't that be wild? Get rid of 8-inch floppies, and so they pivot and they're still using 3.5-inch. Wait, we paid $440 million for this, and we're still using 3.5-inch floppies?
Hey, it'd still be modernizing.
Oh, they even talk about it. Here, look at that. Floppies keep flopping. For the typical person, floppy disks are obsolete, but government bodies are already established and successfully running the systems in place have much slower to abandon the old system. And yeah, that's absolutely true. In fact, right around the time of the millennium bug, financial institutions in particular tried to have their code as small and fast as possible. And so the rollover would have meant changing the number of bits necessary to calculate the year 2000, because it only included a certain time frame. So instead of going to 2000, it would reset to 1900. Yeah, kind of a problem,
which
because
could be
then,
kind of an issue, especially for something like, I don't know, a bank or.
and the assumption was that better technology would come along, but cheap bastards being what they are, they don't future proof anything. They go, oh well, let's do this, and then somebody else's problem, right? It's like dumping stuff in the water. And lo and behold, it became multi-millions of dollars in profit for some companies. One company of which I was actually involved in, and I wasn't too fond of by the end of. Anyway, but after I left, I said this company has basically 5 years, and I think it took 7, and now they're gone. Anyway, besides the German Navy, U.S. Air Force, and Japan only last month officially stopped using floppy disks in governmental systems, and we actually talked about it last week.
Yeah, that's funny because you were just talking about Japan.
Yep. The San Francisco Municipal Transportation Agency plans to use 5.25-inch floppies to help run San Francisco's Muni Metro light rail system until 2030. This is part of the problem. But the problem is exacerbated by the fact that modernization increases complexity instead of reliability. And that's what they need to focus on. Make it reliable, future-proof, but still reliable. And then test. Beta test, alpha test, do simulation after simulation, and then implement the modernization. Don't take 30 years. But you know what you need for that? Tax dollars, because government is run off of the taxes. And every freaking person thinks that they're the subject matter expert in X when they are not. And when they are, they want to extract as much money as humanly possible. Anyway, I spent a tremendous amount of time on this article, but
it was really interesting. I mean, the fact that there's probably people listening to this show that don't even know what floppy disks are.
Oh, that's almost a guarantee. We actually had a conversation in another chat a while back discussing the fact that there used to be 8-inch floppies, but guess what? There were 12-inch before the 8-inch. And before that, there were actually punch cards. So the old school floppy was actually a piece of paper with holes in it that got fed into a machine and was like stacks high, just to run a program. Pretty amazing, right?
Well, I would say look how far we've come, but maybe not.
Yeah, who knows what this is.
Based on this article, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty fascinating. So guess what? We're going to go from old world not knowing what's going on and realizing, oh, I guess we better change our ways, to new world not knowing what's going on and having to change their ways. In the 0.0001% category of earners, Serena Williams once tried to deposit a $1 million check at her bank's drive-thru. Here's why you can't do that. There were several articles about this. I chose this one because it was more of a, this is why you can't do that kind of thing. Because
right,
I'm
something
sure,
informational, not just silly.
Yeah. Although we can be silly about this. So Charles Passy over at MarketWatch.com put the article together. And the deck statement says large deposits do not go unnoticed by financial institutions for good reason, experts note, and it's anti-money laundering legislation. So anything over $10,000 is immediately flagged. When you go into the millions of dollars, it's a greater amount of diligence is paid to it. Oh, I may not be able to actually talk about it because it's part of their, whatchamacallit. I have to subscribe,
like
not subscribe, I have to log in. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay. It says, take a tip from Serena Williams. You can't deposit $1 million. The tennis great learned a lesson when she tried to make such a hefty deposit early in her career, $1 million early in her career. In a recent interview on Hot Takes talk show on YouTube, the program where you eat hot wings and things get spicy. Apparently Williams discussed the fact that she tried to deposit through the drive-through. It's so approachable, you know. This is why I don't really care for this kind of talk, because there isn't anybody on the freaking planet that can relate to this except for people who are already earning millions of dollars, and they already
most
talk
people
to
would
each
be
other.
thrilled to have $100 check or something to deposit or whatever.
Easy, $1 million can solve so many people's singular problems, let alone little. You could give $250,000 to somebody and it would solve their life's problems, maybe for a long period of time, but essentially that's a shit ton of money. Pardon me. I need to get a beep, like a bleep button, so that I can.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Anyway,
but only if you can bleep it in time and not after the fact.
I'm trying to make it a little bit more family friendly, because right now we have an E flag on our, because I'm a little explicit sometimes with my colorful language. Anyway, yeah, it basically triggers anti-money laundering policy and financial controls and fraud, etc. And so that's why you can't deposit $1 million. $10,000 alone. As soon as you break $9,999, it pops a flag. And I'm surprised that it actually is just $10,000 and $9,500 doesn't flag, but it can. So anyway, thought it was an interesting article. You can go over there and check it out, and if you subscribe, like, I can log in, but I don't do it live on the show. So anyway, go check it out, y'all. Let's keep going. The next article is over in Reality Hacker, and we have some news about that because it's supposed to be the next show, but we'll talk about it. The next generation of VR developers are social VR users. You've secured funding for your revolutionary new VR game. It's going to blow everyone out of the water. All you need now is a good team for production, except something's happening with those background checks. Every now and again, your trail of research ends in a series of URLs featuring catgirl avatars on some kind of YouTube channel. You want to hire someone with a catgirl avatar to make your VR game. Yes, you do. When using the right tools and practice to develop expertise, creators regularly publish their work on social VR platforms, can eventually develop into a professional. So yeah, for sure. If this is over at Upload VR, Kay Guillory, Kay Guillory put the article together. And if you're building a VR game, you want people who are skilled in VR development. So if it's a person that can make avatars, not only are they artists, but they are technically savvy.
And they probably have some appreciation for what people might want to see.
Yep. So the person that they're referring to in this particular article is Gizem Mishi McDuff. Marketed her House of Blueberry fashion line in Roblox and earned millions of dollars, while one popular game creator in VR chat earns over $7,000 a month in Patreon. That level of success isn't common in VR just yet, and to be fair, most creators make nothing. Still, there are new paths for professional development in VR, and I agree. VR is slowly growing. Apple, on the other hand, seems to have taken it on the chin because there are reports that less than 100,000 units of a $3,000 device, which accomplishes nothing more than consumption and very little interaction, hit the shelves and was received by Apple aficionados, we'll say that. But I think that it's an overpriced spatial computing device when what we need is quick and dirty and reliable, that gets online, is high quality enough to represent what it is that's being provided, i.e. if it looks like that, it's a whole lot different than ultra realistic, more like that. And then actual realism is completely different than Dance Dash. But you need hardware that's capable of running the full spectrum, because there's going to be some stuff that people want realism.
That's true, right?
Other people want the cartoon.
Different game styles, and yeah.
But you want small, reliable. Put it on. If I can get away from the umbilical, then great. If I'm stuck to the umbilical, then I guess the compute power can come directly from the computer and not have to transmit so much wirelessly. Right now, you need 500 megabits as a connection speed for you to reliably do high resolution VR, or you need on device, which again is a different animal, and you may not get the same resolution. You won't get the same resolution as a 4090. But at any rate, so for instance, this person here, Fernandez is their name, Jace Fernandez, started game dev as a hobby in 2018. Very grateful to have the space to work on things professionally and out of passion. You need a balance between the two. When you love your job, it's not work. So I can guarantee you the context of that is different than what everybody is imagining. Like, oh, I just came out of, high school and I'm working in game dev as a hobby in 2018, and now I'm making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. It's usually not like that, and there's always
that's
context.
the exception, right?
Yeah, peel back the layers of the onion. So Rain Dance Immersive is the virtual extension of the Rain Dance Film Festival, awarding artists and filmmakers of their achievement in virtual reality, specifically Rain Dance Immersive. This year, 2 nominees for Best Music Video represented expanding trajectories in virtual entertainment. Like Crazy, directed by VR chat user Ariel Emerald, features virtual musicians TFM Johnny and Lydian Melody in a story of love and loss across the galaxy. And for one of those, it's a second Rain Dance nomination, means a chance to sharpen her skills. The connections they've made in VR and the potential for creation has offered me a catalyst that has fundamentally reshaped their life. So these are the people.
I like even that they have a celebration of this anyway, right? The fact that they even, recognize this category, I think, is a step in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Yep. The winning entry in the same Rain Dance category for Best Music Video was I Still Love You by VR singer Starheart. Now, these are people that are making it in VR. So, again, they're the first or second movers. They're the ones that everybody is being drawn to, and they're rising, right? They're the cream of the crop, so to speak. But I'm sure in terms of revenue stream, it's a fraction of what mainstream media is making. But I love the idea of this because I'm a big fan of VR. It's more immersive. It's more open to expression because you can actually be whatever you want in that space. It's kind of like a VTuber, except that you can work in 3 dimensions as a VR avatar. And with the right sensors, you can actually walk around in 3-dimensional space instead of even what I'm doing right now, which is I got a green screen behind me that I'm going to bump into if I back up too far. But in VR space, I can virtualize my walking any distance, even in room scale. I mean, I love VR. I think it's amazing. One day we'll have omnidirectional treadmills that don't cost your soul.
Yeah, I was going to say, we've got them, but they're not real accessible for most people.
Yep. Time to work at Disney, folks. All right, let's keep going.
HoloTile.
I'm sorry?
HoloTile.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, just walking on these little weird... They're like 4-sided dice. And so they actually spin as you're walking. Pretty wild technology. Upside down. It comes to a point sitting on a little spindle and it turns as you walk. So you're basically sitting in one spot. Oh, this HoloTile stuff is amazing. But it may never see commercial because it's produced by Disney. Okay, so the next article is over in Smack Talk. Find My helps man recover his Apple Watch more than a year after losing it in the ocean. I could have rephrased this. Find My helps recover Apple Watch after a year. It
Right.
is this SEO kind of stuff?
Maybe.
I
It's
don't know.
very hard to follow it.
Yeah, it is an essay. So it says we've covered many stories, and it's not us. This is from. I don't have this covered up. I don't have it listed so that I can show you. Anyway, I think it's 9 to 5 Mac. So we've covered many stories. Again, it's the authors, not us, of people getting their Apple device. Although we've done it too. We've reported what other people have reported being reported.
Was it reported?
Reportedly. So a year after losing the item, a person used Find My to recover their watch after losing it in the Caribbean over a year ago. Apple's Find My app helped Brick, though the person's name is Jared Brick. Helped Brick get his hands back on his watch, and it's still working.
Okay, that's the key thing here, right? It's not the Find My.
You know, I'm really surprised by that watch band right there, that sport band. All it is a little pin through a hole, and then it's tucked. And it seems like the slightest thing could grab it and pull it off your wrist, but
it doesn't, right? It's pretty sturdy.
Yeah, it has to grab the right spot between the two loop ends and pull. And if it does that, then you're done. It's off like a hot knife through butter. Yes, that's trite, but whatever. So Apple Watch lost in the ocean, recovered after a year. I don't even need to go into this really. They have a whole video. It says found Apple Watch lost in the ocean over 1.5 years ago, still work ? And there's a video from Brick House Media Company. So I'm going to encourage y'all to just follow this link through ohmTown and go and check it out, because
Don't you want to know if it had any barnacles or anything on it?
I don't know. Does it say it in there? It says the owner of the Apple Watch says that he used to go scuba diving twice a day without taking his watch off. After all, Apple Watch is certified up to 50 meters, so 150 feet, which is a certified deep dive. And which typically with a single tank is one. You go down there, you touch the ground, and you come back up because you have to spend so much time on decompression stops. But one day after returning from a dive, Brick realized that his Apple Watch was no longer on his wrist. Quote, I'm wearing it and poof, it's gone. Slide off my wrist and into the water. Didn't realize it at the time, so distracted by the true beauty of that place, which diving is amazing. If there was one thing, I go through these phases where I get reminded of other paths to take, and going diving is one of those things where you disconnect from everything. You just observe the world around you, and it's just pure beauty, and you're aware of your surroundings. Every once in a while, you'll bump up against nature, be it a sea turtle, which you're not allowed to touch, or a shark that reminds you you're not the apex predator in the ocean. Or you have to sit there and make sure that your dive buddy doesn't
Do something stupid
and pull their face mask off, or get tangled up in seaweed, or whatever. So in December last year, he received a voicemail from someone in the Caribbean claiming to have found his Apple Watch. Then the device was still working thanks to Find My. It showed a message with Brick's phone number. The person sent the Apple Watch back to its owner in California, who confirmed that it was his lost watch and that it was indeed still working.
That's pretty incredible. I mean, Apple doesn't even have to advertise, right? It could just be like, hey, look at that article over there.
Yeah, and that's really what it's all about. They did some spectacular marketing right there. Just a quality product that is reliable and still working. I don't know what depth they found it in, but it might be in this article, or in the video, but we'll have to watch it later. All right, let's keep going. This next article is going to be pretty quick, I think. It's over on the Hatch Ideas channel. Startups are building balloons to hoist tourists to 100,000 feet into the stratosphere. A single trip would last about 6 hours, and the ticket prices are ranging from $50,000 to $184,000 per seat. We've actually talked about this a couple of times, different levels of quality. Magdalena Petrova over at CNBC.com put the article together, and this is one of the bigger of the producers of these. We've seen this vehicle before. Basically, it's a hard-bodied balloon, it's a hard-bodied cockpit dangling underneath a stratospheric balloon, which is an interesting concept because as the balloon gets higher, there's less and less atmosphere. So it needs a whole lot of weight, like air, to pull itself up into the stratosphere. And it has to be controlled to descend. It's not going to descend on its own. So people interested in seeing the Earth from an unusual vantage point may soon have another option, because you're not going to be flying on SpaceX, Blue Origin, or Virgin Galactic because it's so expensive and there's a wait list. Only a few people can go, but you can put 20 people on a giant balloon. Well, maybe. It depends on the size of the
if you can
device.
afford it.
Yeah. And
but
honestly,
it's not going to be as expensive as a space flight, certainly.
Correct. Yeah. And you don't have to go through the training. You don't have to go through all of the hoops and stuff like that. You're basically just somebody that's stuck on there. The capsule itself here in this is designed to carry 8 customers and 2 crew into the stratosphere. The CEO said, it's Ryan Hartman of Worldview. There will be a center bar where people can gather, and then, of course, there will be a bathroom aboard the capsule, all of which doesn't exist on SpaceX rockets. The balloon rides will last around 6 hours, but will not take passengers all the way to space. It'll reach the edge of, most will reach heights of 15 to 19 miles above Earth's surface, flying in an area known as the stratosphere.
Wow, at least they won't need the pea suit from Dune.
I don't know.
Like
Look
in
out that
yesterday's
window.
article.
Look out that window and not be prepared psychically for it, and you will probably need a pea suit. The other day, I'm playing Once Human, and I jumped off a cliff, and it actually made my stomach rolled over for a split second, and then I realized that I was playing a game because I was so into the game. I might actually start streaming Once Human on the regular, but that comes... We'll talk about it here in a minute. Actually, we'll talk about it in 5 articles. So
not in a minute.
Yeah, 5 articles, 30 minutes. So ticket prices are going to range from $50,000 in a Worldview seat to $184,000 with Zavalto, which didn't say anything. They just said, you just have to show up and pay a certain amount, but they didn't say how much, and they didn't say, they didn't say how many tickets were sold, and said that the initial flights were fully booked. So somewhere around $184,000 for Zavalto. Wow. All right, let's keep going. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. One of New York City's last surviving Gilded Age mansions is for sale for $65 million. See inside the historic home. An Upper East Side mansion built during the Gilded Age is for sale for $65 million. I'd probably buy New York's Gilded Age mansion and not a Florida Gilded Age mansion. Even though they don't exist in Florida in the Gilded Age anything. The 7-bedroom, 16-bathroom. What is it with a 2-to-1 ratio of bathrooms to bedrooms?
I don't know. Seems like there should be fewer bathrooms or equal, but why do you need more?
Yeah, maybe one on each floor and then one for each room. If you're really going to...
Okay, maybe, yeah. Okay.
Airbnb it, every room is treated like a primary bedroom, and it has its own bathroom and shower, everything. Walk-in closet.
Right, but that would only equal, but you're right. Maybe there is a general one.
Yeah, but this is 16. It's almost 3-to-1. It's 2-to-1 for sure. It's 2 bathrooms for every bedroom and one on each floor. I actually don't know how many floors this has, but it's 18,000 square feet with a marble foyer. Oh, it's 3 terraces, so not quite 1-to-1 ratio or 2-to-1 ratio for the bathrooms. And 14 fireplaces. What the hell? Oh, well, I mean, it's Gilded Age, so it needed heat from fireplaces.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, that wasn't for decoration.
Yeah, that's survival. Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I did say
and
that the other
very
one...
rare to find.
I did... Oh, by the way, yesterday's article, or yesterday's show of Non Sequitur News, the 12th, go back and look at it, because I called the Florida version of a mansion ostentatious by proxy. The Sentient AI said it's ostentatious, but that was the word that I was looking for. I think this is as well too, because I like more modern accoutrement, but this is doable based on the fact that this isn't a modern recreation of something.
Correct. It actually looks like it should be like this.
Right.
Whereas the other one seemed like it was
Forced.
Unnecessarily fancy.
Hey, look, we have 6 inches. Let's put a pillar. So this actually looks pretty amazing. It has the same rounded archway windows, you know. I really like the styling. I could probably handle this. And unlike the CNBC article that we talked about, Aaron McDowell and Business Insider are going to crush it with pictures, because there are probably going to be a lot in this one. But I haven't seen it yet. Our reactions are authentic and brand new. We haven't seen these articles that we talk about. We usually have some experience with this kind of stuff. Whatever we talk about, there's some modicum of experience. Our experience does not extend into owning a mansion from the Gilded Age. Anyway, 18,000 square feet, marble foyer, 3 terraces, 14 fireplaces. It's on the market for $65 million. And according to the listing, it was designed by John H. Duncan, built in 1901 by a financier and philanthropist, Elias Ezel. Duncan is one of the most influential architects of the late 19th century and the designer of Grant's tomb, the final resting place of Ulysses S. Grant. I was going to really ask. I was going to play a joke and go, who's in Grant's tomb?
Well, the article ruined that for you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It ruined it for you. I mean, come on. So it's listed by Luis Biet and Sotheby's International Realty. The home is described as a glistening survivor. I don't know if I want to ever refer to anything as a glistening survivor. One of the few remaining and most architecturally intact mansions of its Gilded Age splendor on the Upper East Side on Tuesday on this street.
Exactly.
It kept getting smaller.
On this block. Yeah.
So the Grand Townhouse is located in New York City's Upper East Side. So it's
can you imagine having an 18,000 square foot townhouse?
Yes, I can.
That's ridiculous as a standalone house, but as a townhouse, it's really like you probably forget you're in a townhouse.
That's why I'd be able to handle an 18,000 square foot townhouse. A 2,700 square foot townhouse, I'd probably be going, my neighbors can hear me breathe deeply. But you wouldn't be able to hear anybody on either side of this, because this is built to have privacy, have quiet within the city. In addition to its 7 bedrooms and 12 full baths is what it says. The home has 4 powder rooms, so that's 16 baths and 3 terraces, 2 of which are roof terraces with views of the city and Central Park. Oh, for crying out loud. Anyway.
That's probably $10 million at a price right there. Like, how many things really look over Central Park? I mean, maybe some stuff, but I don't think it's everything.
Yeah. Hey, did you see what the monthly taxes are on this thing?
Okay.
Monthly taxes.
That is probably more than some people spend on a year of housing.
$16,000 in monthly taxes. Dear God. Anyway, you don't pay cash, you don't have a mortgage for this in the conventional sense. If you do finance it, it's at like 0.2% interest. And there is zero question that you'll be able to pay this thing off without a doubt. So it's one of the city's most desirable neighborhoods, just off 5th Avenue and less than a block from Central Park. Yeah, this is more my styling. It's a little bit more sedate than the other one. But I would like this more than the Florida one, for sure. Anyway.
It would be hard to beat being able to walk to Central Park every day. Or down 5th Avenue.
Yep. You never know when you're going to want to just go and buy something off of 5th Avenue, like a cup of coffee for $25. Or Taco Bell when it wins.
Window shopping. Oh, yeah. The fast food wars.
That's right. Okay, this is a little ostentatious, but I'll take it. So they have a lot. Okay, that's a little wild. You'll have to come.
It's getting a little over the top here.
Yeah, you'll have to come and look at the pictures of the pictures. Apparently, it has a gallery wall of various things that have transpired over the years, represented within the wall. It's decorated like this. I don't know if the decoration comes with the house, but it says the opulent home has had multiple famous owners throughout the years. The Real Deal reported that the home was once owned by fashion designer Oleg Cassini, who was the stylist to former First Lady Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis during the White House years. And Cassini's namesake label is still a popular wedding dress brand. Is that true? I don't know. Maybe with the...
I don't know. I think you have to be in the right circles.
Yeah, really. It was owned most recently by Marianne Nestor Cassini, Oleg Cassini's widow, and her sister, Peggy Nestor, which is interesting. It stayed in the family all this time and now is being sold off. Yeah, so it doesn't come without its share of scandal and intrigue. The dispute after Oleg Cassini's death in 2006, his estate was marred by controversies concerning the distribution of his assets. So everybody's fighting over Cassini's boots. Yep, that's pretty typical. My most recent brush with that is the city being promised that an estate property wasn't going to be sold to a developer, and then the children invalidated the will and sold the property to a developer. Yeah. All right. There's more over here, but let's just move on to the next article. Yesterday and the day before, I think we talked about American Airlines flight being evacuated because of smoke in the cabin. A smoking laptop and passenger's bag prompts evacuation on American Airlines flight in San Francisco. So it filled the cabin with smoke. It was headed from San Francisco to Miami. And we keep kind of making snarky comments about what the hell's going on in San Francisco. Maybe it's just a major hub to the point where a lot is happening.
It is, but this isn't even the same airline. So right. That's the thing that really is odd. But I do think it is a major hub for airlines. But why don't we see this out of other hubs?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty wild though. You don't see any of these problems. And it makes you wonder what's going on with San Francisco. So basically it was just a laptop. And usually it's because of the battery, or it was on and something fell in it and it started smoking. One person sustained minor injuries while exiting the required transport to hospital. Passengers were evacuated via emergency slides and a jet bridge. At one point, I actually saw an emergency slide test. And when they pulled the trigger to drop the emergency slide, the whole slide just fell off the plane onto the tarmac.
Oh, wow. I guess the slide wanted to evacuate too.
That wasn't supposed to happen. Let's keep going. Next article is over in the Mobile Channel. Appeal for information on anonymously donated axe heads. The National Museum. And when I first saw this, I thought that maybe somebody had like 500 axe heads. But that's not what this is, apparently. It's 4,000-year-old early Bronze Age axe heads. that were donated to the National Museum of Ireland. They were sent anonymously to the museum at the end of June. They can't figure out who actually sent them, but they were apparently extremely well packaged.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they have very fitted, like custom packaging, basically, although it looks kind of handmade or something.
It is handmade because you can see the pen line in the foam for where they cut it out.
Interesting.
Yeah. So Laura Fletcher over at RTE.ie put this article together, and they're an Irish news organization that we aggregate news from. The museum has dated these axe heads to around 2150 to 2000 BC, so 4,000 plus years old. The sender had fashioned packaging from a cardboard box of Flayhaven's flapjacks with foam inserts cut to the exact size of the axe heads, each one similar or smaller than the palm of a person's hand. Thoughtfully packed in foam cutouts and cardboard, ensuring their safe travel. Our experts at the NMI have identified these items as flat axe heads from the early Bronze Age, a significant archaeological find that offers a glimpse into Ireland's distant past. You just find,
yeah, but they want to know where they're actually from, because they probably want to look for more or other items. And maybe that's why they were anonymous. Did you see that top paragraph?
Yeah. See, this is the problem that I have with this. It is against the law to search for archaeological objects in Ireland using a metal detector unless you have received written consent from the government. Well, what if I'm just looking for stuff in the ground? It doesn't have to be archaeological.
What if I'm looking for my lost Apple Watch or something, even though that might not pick up?
Yeah. I think this is bullshit, but sorry. I think that this is bull hockey. There you go. People can be fined up to 63,486 euro and get up to 3 months in jail if found to be in breach of the law.
See, I mean, this person perhaps put themselves at risk by sending this.
Yeah.
But I can see why they did it anonymously. It's a shame. I mean, in retrospect, maybe they could have said, hey, it's at whatever, this corner or something.
Yeah, I found these here.
Maybe with this news article, they'll send in an anonymous letter and say, okay, go over here.
Yeah, this is a bummer. I wish archaeologists can't be everywhere at all times. Why sit there and suppress the option, the appreciation, discovery, and eventual scientific evaluation of the place? It's because somebody digging a hole can ruin the archaeological significance because something that they think is not important.
Yeah, they want to see it like in its natural state.
Yeah.
But I think people are going to find things that would never be found, because we know a museum can't send people out every day on a beach or wherever to be looking for things.
Yeah.
Maybe they could just make it illegal to keep items or something.
Right.
Versus find them.
Yeah. And there's a lot of,
like, the rule is like, if you find it, just stop and call this number or whatever.
Yeah.
Or
but
whatever.
It could have been in a compromised location anyway that they found
Correct.
it and wash
like
away
uncovered
with the
due
rain.
To exactly, erosion or anything.
Yeah. But this is kind of gatekeeping. You know, I understand the cultural significance, the historical significance, the archaeological significance, but you wouldn't even know about these things if it wasn't for this person.
Correct. So I think this was a win. But I'm surprised they didn't put into the article like they've secured whatever immunity for this person if they come forward or something.
Yep. The NMI's role is to preserve these treasures for everyone in the state, ensuring that they're available for future generations. Mr. Seaver thanked members of the public who every week find archaeological objects legitimately and report them within 96 hours as the Irish law outlines, and that they basically want to remind everybody. So if you find it, you know, notify. But I suspect that these might have been found a while ago because they look like they're damn near professionally restored. Not even restored, but preserved.
Well, maybe they were found and then Yeah, like kept in somebody's belongings or something. Who
Yeah,
knows?
somebody found them, and then somebody else said, you know, you shouldn't have these things. When you are found out, you're screwed. All right, let's keep going. This article's over in Wanted, which is another one of our shows. Supposed to be after a reality hacker. Stay tuned. Got some news for you. Joby Aviation's hydrogen electric air taxi. Hydrogen electric air taxi completes a 523-mile test flight. Joby Aviation has achieved a significant milestone by successfully completing a 523-mile test flight of its hydrogen electric air taxi at its Marina, California facility. Pretty cool. But it is hydrogen, which is in tough.
Well, it's in it's in short supply, right?
Yep. It's in a predicament because, well, hydrogen isn't the easiest thing to work with and manage, and you have to get something that can extract it. It usually takes power electrolysis to separate water into hydrogen and O2, and then it actually can recombine with air to make water. Anyway,
was that the gas that was featured in the Big Bang Theory that they were trying to get a hold of, and they were doing it through surreptitious means, or maybe it was something else?
Might have been helium. I think it was liquid helium, because that actually is in worse shape than hydrogen. So it says the flight powered by liquid hydrogen was conducted on June 24th, 2024, and resulted in water as the only emission. Ta-da! The aircraft landed with over 10% of its hydrogen fuel remaining, marking a crucial step towards regional flights in the U.S. with zero emissions. So this little puddle jumper flew 523 miles on a single tank with 10% left over, so it had some reserve. I think it's pretty cool, and that's what it looks like. Whoa.
Well, that's a cool looking air taxi. I don't know what to call it.
That's what it is. So this article is from ubergizmo.com. Let's see. For the test, Joby converted a pre-production prototype battery electric aircraft, equipping it with a liquid hydrogen fuel tank and fuel cell system. The company aims to begin commercial operations by 2025, initially with its battery electric air taxi, followed by the hydrogen-powered version. Works for me.
So it has a vacuum jacketed tank, and it can store up to 40 kilos of hydrogen. Yeah, this looks really cool.
It's basically a drone, but bigger, and it has 6 props. And it looks like 2 of them pivot, whereas the other 2 maintain the vertical. 2 of them pivot back down, kind of like vectored thrust. Yeah,
this does look like an oversized drone. That's what I was trying to think of what it looked like.
Yeah, it's been embiggened. I choose you. So the last article for today is over in the Technology Today channel. Again, that's another one of our shows. OpenAI illegally barred staff from airing safety risks, according to whistleblowers. And there's some NDA issue here where they say that they filed a complaint. Whistleblowers have filed a complaint with the SEC about how the AI company is silencing employees from sharing concerns about its AI technology. The article is over at the Washington Post. I don't know if I'll be able to read it because I'm not logged in. But Pranchu Verma, Kat Zakharowski, and Natasha Tiku are the authors of this. I gave it my Harvard try. Never went to Harvard. Anyway, in a letter exclusively obtained by the Washington Post, whistleblowers asked the SEC to probe companies' allegedly restrictive non-disclosure agreements. And yeah, so I had heard about this in other conversation, and then saw it as a submission in ohmTown. So I felt this is kind of interesting. If we haven't learned anything from NDAs being invalidated trampling on somebody's First Amendment rights to express whatever the hell they want to, pretty much is going to be commonplace as time goes on. Although they see this whole complaint about the constitutionality of NDAs seems to rise and fall with whoever it is that wants to deem them as important, because of protectionism for their particular interests. If their interest is to invalidate it, then suddenly it's a constitutional crisis. And if it's something that saves them, then they're like, oh no, this isn't constitutional anything. This is a business practice.
Right. It's like cherry picking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, I can't really read much about it. Oh, because there really isn't anything else to it. It's just
OpenAI is one of those companies that I feel like you just get completely opposing information about in the news.
Yeah. Because we really don't know what happened with the Sam Altman fiasco.
No,
it just seems to have been kind of on one side it was Mean Girl, on the other side it was Valid.
Right, and so it's like, is the company, trying to do good things, not doing good things? I mean, this is certainly not positive for the company.
Yeah.
If it's valid.
Because everybody was like, oh, we're totally backing Sam Altman. And then there are people that are whistleblowing now that are saying that they're oppressive of their rights to disclose. The whistleblower said that OpenAI issued its employees overly restrictive employment, severance, and non-disclosure agreements that could have led to penalties against workers who raised concerns about OpenAI to federal regulators, which that would immediately invalidate an NDA because you can't benefit from your crime. And if it is a crime to report some type of bad acting that can impact the performance of the business, and you just say it to a federal regulator, there should be an allowance to talk to federal regulators.
True, but not all workers know that. I mean, if they're sophisticated, they probably realize that. But
yeah.
Or people are terrified of losing their jobs.
Oh, that reminds me. You should have to talk to them. Anyway, so yeah, who knows what's really going on over at OpenAI. I've always thought, though, that it's really weird that a not-for-profit organization is developing a product that can be used for profit. You know what? It's directly tied to it.
Yeah, I really don't understand that arrangement. And it's so rare.
Yeah, I have heard of another.
It's kind of like, right, but I mean, it's not like we see that on every company, and certainly not I don't think we do in the tech arena. So it raises some questions. Yeah,
it's very interesting. So they sent a 7-page letter to the SEC commissioner earlier this month that referred to the formal complaint, and the letter was obtained exclusively by the Washington Post. So you can follow the link through ohmTown over to the Washington Post, and they have the letter linked in their article. I'm not going to follow it and go over it. But that's the end of today's Non Sequitur news for July 13th, 2024, Season 3, Episode 195. So I'm going to ask OpenAI to send us back to the front page. So just blink. And, oh, look, we're there. And just want to make an announcement real quick. Don't worry, I won't refresh. I know there's weird stuff going
100%.
on. Yeah. So there's going to be some weird stuff that's posting onto ohmTown.com because of certain events that took place today. And I was actually watching that live when it happened. So it was quite an odd experience. But if I recall correctly, it's not the first time in my lifetime that I've witnessed that. So here's the deal about ohmTown right now and our weekly shows. After close to 28, almost 30 weeks, I'm shifting today's shows, Reality Hacker, Wanted, and WarCrafters, to Sunday. And so we will have basically a full day of streaming Non Sequitur news, Reality Hacker, Wanted, WarCrafters, The Continuity Report, Technology Today, and Four Wheel Tech all tomorrow. It's basically going to be a weekly show that lasts all day, well, at least 8 hours. including breaks. We always take a break between shows. If I can figure out how to flip from one show to another without breaking the stream, I'll do that, but I doubt it's going to be possible. And it allows us to compartmentalize each day, or I should say each show, not only as a VOD here on Twitch, but also over on YouTube. And then we have one consolidated day of streaming all of the shows. Ta-da! And it frees me up to do mayoral duties. Ta-da! All right, well, that's it, folks. So we're done for today, and we will see you tomorrow, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I don't know the actual start time just yet, but for us to do the full day, it will probably somewhere around the 9 to 5 kind of time frame, 10 to 6 maybe. It really depends, because this is a last-minute decision that's going to impact next week and then the following week, because we have other things going on at the end of this month that's going to impact the first week of August. So interesting times, folks. I'm Mayor Watt, and that's the Sentient AI's visualizer.
No. Good night, ohmTown citizens. Be sure to like and subscribe so you'll find out when we are live.
That's right. Over on Twitch and over on YouTube, we simulcast to both. We might add additional streaming venues, but right now it's just those two. So see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Time to call my air